Ladies and gentlemen, I'm guilty as charged for reading every single comment that you guys give me, good, bad, somewhere in between. And one of the most interesting ones that I got recently that I had to flag is a suggestion from Daniela Ford 2216, who asked the question if The Walking Dead's TV adaptation can be saved. Essentially, that was her question, was can it be saved? Is there any way we could bring this back and essentially rejuvenate hype in it? Like, can it be redeemed? That's the general point, and I thought this was an interesting topic to explore. So here we are today talking about that. For a little bit of context and a little bit of background, The Walking Dead, as you guys know, has a comic counterpart. That's where the inspiration came from for the TV show. The source material is the comics, and that is a finished product from start to finish. And the TV show is now technically The Walking Dead is now a finished product as well. We've seen all 11 seasons of the show, we've seen where it goes, and we've seen the spin-offs that have came of it. We know that there has been some legal issues between Robert Kirkman and AMC about the property, and we know where things ended up. So we know there's been some big differences. Now, I think it is interesting to explore this because, yes, the TV show has its own sort of foundation, and yes, the comics has its own sort of foundation. But for the beloved fans, people who watch, who have read the comics, you know how beloved that version is. That story is complete, it's wrapped with a bow, and it's just special where it lies. But The Walking Dead's universe, some people could say it was ruined. Actually, I think a lot of people could say that over time they ruined it by padding out storylines along the way, Gimple speak, killing off main characters for God knows what reason, or just all sorts of things. I'm going to be honest with you. It's hard to get a TV show right. You know what I mean? You have a lot of actors. You have them aging. You have them, growing up, like, for instance, Carl, all of that stuff. And you have people who want to leave, who want to get paid more money. So it's not so easy to just adapt a very long-running comic book. That being said, I do think for the most part, The Walking Dead did a very good job with that in the beginning. I think that's the general consensus. The first 5-6 seasons did a pretty stellar job at taking source material that was foundational and making it really magical on screen. And then it just fell apart. Just completely did. And I think there are some things that really just can't be redeemed straight up, like at all. For instance, killing Carl. For those of you guys, and I'm about to dive into spoilers for the comics, for those of you guys who have read the comics, you know that Carl is the foundation of the story. Without him, the story falls apart. It's the same without Rick Grimes too, because in the comics, those two characters are, in a sense, the two characters. It doesn't exist without the Grimes family. And The Walking Dead's TV show completely lost sight of it. So in a lot of aspects, I really do think that the show cannot be redeemed without Carl in the mix and without Rick's story coming to an end the way it did in the comics, because for those of you guys who know, the comics also ended with Rick Grimes dying. And that was contentious at the time. A lot of people weren't a fan of his death. A lot of people thought it was just kind of crazy. A lot of people were disappointed. They didn't think it was a good way for the story to end. I, on the other hand, I've gone on record and talked about this a ton. I think it was the perfect ending. I thought it was the perfect death of the main character. I thought Rick Grimes' death was really well executed because it showed a journey of being unsafe and the whole group being unsafe to then him building up this foundation so safely to the point where someone could kill him just by breaking into his apartment. Not the walkers, not the crazy people out there on the road, none of those. Just some lunatic who comes in with a gun, gets a little jealous of him, and shoots him. And basically, that's the sort of thing we see in society today. I mean, maybe that doesn't happen all the time, but those are the dangers that we face today. When civilization fell apart in The Walking Dead, in the comics specifically, there was no hope for that to come back. But Rick Grimes built that hope, and he made a system that built the world back up. So for a while, it was just unthinkable, I guess you could say is the term, for that kind of death to happen. I thought that was critical. And I think without Rick Grimes in the story, the way they did it, now you can't do it. We've already told the Commonwealth story. We've already told the CRM story, even though that wasn't part of the comics. We've already told that. And now what is there left to do? Live happily ever after? Which, again, I'm not against, because the comics ended happily ever after. Yes, Rick died, but the world was saved. The world was fixed, and it became a wonderful place to be and to exist for children and for everyone. So for me, like, I love that ending, and the show just didn't do that. The show doesn't have any of that to go off of anymore, and they don't have Carl to go off of any of that anymore. So it's very hard for me to sit here and justify them being able to redeem the show without those very critical elements in Carl's existence and in Rick's story ending. I mean, again, yes, I think there is some potential for them to redeem the shit that has happened within the Walking Dead's universe as of late. I'm gonna say straight up, season 7 and 8 were the weakest points of the Walking Dead show. It's the time that, like, everyone fell off, and obviously there were some absolutely unforgiving things that happened in those seasons, like killing Carl. But, like, I do think it genuinely got fine again for the most part. I didn't like season 10, but that doesn't mean that I think it's like it ruined the show or anything. For me, season 10 is my least favorite season of The Walking Dead. I hated that season. It just wasn't good. I thought the way it was panned out sucked. I thought those extra episodes, I know that they didn't matter, but they were terrible, other than Here's Negan. I just thought that whole season was a fart. Like, it was just a pure, just muddy fart. I've never heard of a muddy fart. But anyway, the point I'm making is, even though that's my least favorite season, and even though season 7 and 8 are stains, I do think the Walking Dead's IP as a whole, The Walking Dead, the show, the main show, was fine for what it was, even with the changes they made. The problem has always been the spin-offs. The spin-offs are terrible. Fear the Walking Dead had those great 3 first seasons. Seasons 1 through 3 were fantastic, and if they kept that journey going, I think that would have been a really good standalone show for sure. But, like, that's it. The Ones Who Live was a good few episodes. The first 4 episodes were some of my favorite episodes of The Walking Dead ever. But the last 2 really drastically changed my opinion on The Ones Who Live, because they ended so poorly that those first 4 episodes, they're good on their own, but with the context of the whole season, it kind of ruins that, honestly. And then the other spin-offs suck. They just suck. Daryl Dixon, the first season was good. It was a good season of TV, but then it got really, really shitty in season 2, and then season 3 has felt like purgatory just to get to the ending. Dead City was decent. The first season was good. I've been on record saying I thought it was a good season. I thought the second season absolutely sucked. I couldn't stand that season. I know a lot of people still enjoyed it, but that also just feels like a purgatory show. So you've had 3 of these new era spin-offs suck. I didn't even mention The World Beyond. Terrible show. Didn't even mention Tales of the Walking Dead. Terrible show. That there was some potential there, and there still is potential there, but I don't think they're going to do it because it got such a negative perception that I don't think they're ever going to do Tales of the Walking Dead again. So to me, every product that they've tried to make out of The Walking Dead has been terrible. People have fatigue of the franchise. So I genuinely don't think it's that easy to redeem it, especially with what you did and the sentences you've given the characters of the main series. Carl's dead. Rick is back now, and now he has Judith and RJ, and say what you want about RJ and say what you want about Judith. I'm not a fan of that. They could live happily ever after, and that's okay with me. Yes, Daryl Dixon should reunite with Rick. I don't think that needs a new season to do that, to be completely honest. Maggie and Negan, they could do whatever the fuck they want. I don't really care. What are we really going to get? We're going to get a little bit of drama of Rick's like, oh, you're out of your cell. And then he's going to be like, yeah, and people are going to explain to him how good he did. So what can you tell there? I don't think there's anything, to be honest. Maggie, no, I don't see anything. Carol, no, I don't see anything. So what story are you going to tell? You already killed off the CRM, which would have been a natural way to redeem the story. You already made life happily ever after in terms of the Commonwealth. Sebastian died. Pamela's in jail. What story are you going to tell? You can't tell the death of Rick Grimes because the 2 primary key players in that are out of the picture already. So what are you going to do? They can get creative, but I don't trust these people to get creative. They've made shit product after shit product after shit product. And yes, say what you want. They're not the worst things in the world, but compared to The Walking Dead that we all love, compared to The Walking Dead comics, I don't see how it gets redeemed. I just don't. Sorry, I'm a negative Nancy about this. I just don't see it. I don't think there's any future where we could see it getting redeemed the way that I think a lot of fans want. Sure, some people will be happy with whatever they do. If they do this 12th season reunion thing that is apparently happening, or people are rumored that it's happening, and usually when the rumors are coming out, there's truth in it somewhere. I do genuinely believe Scott Gimple has been talking with Andrew Lincoln about something. I don't think that is outlandish at all. There's a lot of money in The Walking Dead. There's a lot of money in Rick Grimes. There's a lot of stakeholders wanting Rick back into the picture. A lot of people are like, oh my God, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? It's going to happen at some point. We're going to see it. I just don't know how that is going to come to fruition. We're not done with The Walking Dead. I don't think Gimple is done with The Walking Dead. He has to keep his job, even though I don't think he should keep his job. I think we will see more. I struggle seeing how it's going to redeem everything we've got. I think The Walking Dead, the AMC version, the main show, I'm not talking about the spin-offs, can live in its own world, be separate from The Walking Dead's comics, and it's okay. Yes, they made some cardinal sins, like killing Carl, Rick leaving the show, even though that wasn't Scott Gimple's fault or anything like that. All of those things, they can remain in The Walking Dead's TV show, and I'm okay with it. I did like the finale. Yes, it didn't have Rick. I mean, it did at the end, but it didn't have like Rick back with everyone. It didn't have Carl, sure. But for where that show went compared to the comics, I'm satisfied. I don't need anything better than that. So I don't think it needs to be redeemed. I think it could just exist. I'm scared for them going to try to redeem it. You know what I mean? I'm more worried about that than them just putting a bow on it and just sailing off into the sunset. We already got another conclusion that I'm satisfied with, even though I didn't like the last 2 episodes of The Ones Who Live, and that's Rick being back with his family. The only missing piece, like I mentioned, is Rick and Daryl reuniting and maybe a 10-minute scene of Negan and Rick and them being like, oh, okay, you're out. Okay, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? That's it. I don't know what else you could do. They killed off every opportunity, and that's what sucks the most. So yeah. So again, Daniela Ford, thank you so much for that wonderful prompt. Really appreciate it. Hope this lived up to the expectation of that prompt. I don't know. But regardless, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. And with all that out of the way, thank you again so much for watching this video. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Peace out.